Dear colleagues, honestly, it feels warm to be acknowledged today for the role we played as former presidents in our association. And for me, it is an honor to feature in this list of professionals, many of whom I had the pleasure to work with in my early days as a national representative, later as a chair of the ECHO committee, and for the last 10 years, my God, 10 years, as a member of the board of directors. And I think all of us will agree that no single individual in this list can claim any specific achievements. Every step forward that we made in the development of our society has been the result of cooperation, of hard and selfless work from all the members in the board, but also from the contributions of our National Representative Council and importantly, the dynamics and the professional activities of our subspecialty committees, actually the beating heart of our association. And over the years, I may be biased here, but I've seen EACTA-IC grow as a community for anesthesiologists and intensivists, and we have connected to other societies to collaborate on writing guidelines. We've adapted our specialty committees recently to keep pace with the evolving professional landscape. We've expanded our board to include younger generation and to attend to important evolutions in modern society. I see this as steps forward, but I believe it was of primary importance to have a shared long perspective here. We've been working on this for many years. It's important to subscribe to a long-term strategy over years so we can avoid inconsistent decision-making when visions change with every new leadership. And finally, we are witnessing important changes on a global scale today. Peace and democracy, they are no longer a given. The world has become less predictable, and this will not simplify the work of the next generations. But if I have to give one advice for those who will take our work further, it's a simple one. Let's not surrender to destructive forces around us. Let's not question our traditional human values. Remain indignant in the face of injustice, and let's just use our knowledge and skills to serve others without any distinction of rank, status, gender, or origin. I thank you all for the love I perceive, your dedication, and your trust in EACTA-IC. The future is in good hands.
Dear colleagues, it is a great privilege to address you as past president of EACTA-IC. First of all, I wish to express my gratitude to Professor Mukherjee and the entire board of directors for inviting me to join the celebration of the 40th anniversary of our association. Reflecting on the years during which I served as president, between 2019 and 2021, I am deeply honored by the progress we achieved together. A defining milestone was the transition from EACTA to EACTA-IC, a change that really symbolized the expansion of our mission to fully embrace both cardiothoracic anesthesia and intensive care. Equally important was the remarkable growth of our educational activities, which extended the reach of our knowledge and expertise across Europe and far beyond. In addition, the development of our fellowship program marked a significant step toward shaping future leaders, future professionals, and securing the continuity of excellence in our specialty. The accomplishments were the result of a collective effort. And I remain profoundly grateful to all members, faculty, and leaders who contributed to this shared success. It was an honor for me to serve, and I really look forward with confidence to the society's continued advancement. And I am truly confident that the young generation will continue to support the growth of EACTAIC and make it even stronger and stronger. So I would like to conclude by saying that I really look forward to seeing you for the 18th anniversary of EACTAIC. Bye-bye.
Hello, dear colleagues, dear friends, of which many of you I still remember. It's been quite some time since I retired as a president from EACTA in 2016. It was a fantastic time being with EACTA and having been part of the reconstruction of EACTA. And I'm very much convinced that everything's going fine. I just had a quick look at the website and everything looks very, very professional. I'm sorry not being able to come to Valencia because since November it will be 2 years since I completely retired. I turned the page of medicine and I'm more now into investing into agriculture, nutrition, and let's say more like some kind of activism into civil participation. And as a message to my colleagues, I think it's good that when you retire from a job, you completely turn the page. At least that's true for me. And I think that we are going through turbulent times where a lot is going on. And I think actually, personally, I think we are not going into a time of change, but really a change of era. And I think it's not to me to give you a message, but I think you have to reflect clearly on that because that's impacting on every aspect of society. So I wish you a very good Congress, and I'm very happy to greet particularly all my good friends from EACTA EACTAIC now. And well, you never know if we will meet again, but not sure about that. Have a nice Congress. Bye-bye.
EACTA has always held a special place in my heart. From my early days as a young physician, I've enjoyed and benefited from all that the founders of EACTA intended, discussing research projects with colleagues, learning new things from experts, exchanging ideas, and meeting interesting people. In fact, I've made some lifelong friends through the association. I was proud and satisfied to be working for EACTA when I was appointed to the 6-person ECHO committee. Like many other young colleagues, however, I also dreamt of making EACTA more accessible for younger members and more democratic. Years later, when I joined the EACTA Board of Directors, we identified the further development of the organization as our top priority. The board's vision was to make EACTA more useful and empowering for our members and to make the organization more democratic. We named this project EACTA 2.0. For example, we wanted to open up the various subcommittees to all members rather than keeping them closed to small groups of experts. We also wanted to transition from appointing subcommittee chairs to electing them by our members. I still feel a sense of joy and satisfaction when I remember the delegates' enthusiastic approval of the board's proposed amendments at our annual Congress in Barcelona in 2013. EACTA 2.0 represented a significant development for EACTA. Today, EACTA 2.0 is history, and EACTAIC is thriving and continuing to evolve. This is thanks to many colleagues who have worked and continue to work for EACTAIC, whether in an official capacity or as ordinary members. Thank you all and well done. Keep going.
I am Professor Pascal Colson. I was elected EACTA president in 2010, but my story with the association started a long time ago in 1987 with my first presentation in International Congress. I remain faithful to the annual meeting for almost 30 years, more than with any other scientific society. It was the right place to present my research each year, but more importantly, it is where I meet colleagues and friends from many countries who share the same passion for anesthesiology and intensive care in cardiac and thoracic surgery. In these old times, the annual meeting consisted only of 3 scientific presentations rather than lectures. The scientific committee, where I've been involved as scientific secretary for a while, was responsible not only for selecting papers, but also for helping authors to write the abstract correctly, thanks to a famous EACTA member, John Manners, a true English gentleman. This was the nice spirit of EACTA, to help young physicians in promoting their scientific research and to give them opportunities to participate in EACTA activities through subcommittees that I have contributed to set up. I sincerely hope that this spirit will continue to inspire EACTA board and policy for future EACTAIC generation. Vive EACTAIC. Thank you, it's over.
Greetings to you all. I was in the EACTA board from 1998 to 2010. I recall my years as an EACTA officer as a challenging but also fruitful and giving period. Especially Congress in Aarhus in 2000, which were opened by a Danish queen, was inborn security matter, which was more than thrilling. Another exciting task was to secure the EACTA capital. The previous board seemed lucky on the share market, but the money was buried in a Jersey bank and very difficult to gain, both due to the named owner, but also to the newly European money laws. But we succeeded to get the money into Europe. Despite being a course director for the Scandinavian courses in cardiothoracic and vascular anesthesia shortly after leaving the board, it continued to be the principal gateway for education and research activities for our younger colleagues, who up to 2018 presented oral or posters each year. The 2018 Manchester meeting was my last, mainly due to a severe bicycle accident, the following corona obstacle, and clinical retirement. But I continued a little admin and research mainly due to fighting boredom. The future for EACTA EC, which continue development of masterclasses, seminars, and cooperation with other organizations, will keep EACTA IC interesting for younger doctors in the years to come. There's no doubt that the continued education is a must to improve the skills of younger colleagues and keep older colleagues up to date. If EACTA continue to adapt to external and internal challenges, it will be an important basis in that journey. Thank you to you all.
So I've been asked to describe what does EACTAIC mean to me as a past president. Well, EACTA was definitely a child of its time. It was founded in 1986. And at that time, large multidisciplinary meetings in anesthesia were becoming increasingly irrelevant to budding and trained cardiothoracic anaesthetists. The only option really was to cross the Atlantic to the Society of Cardiovascular Anesthesiologists in the United States, but it seemed ridiculous to have to travel across the Atlantic to attend a meeting of like-minded European specialists. And EACTA, from its inception, provided a forum both for research presentations and education and continuous professional development, as indeed it does today. Now, new organizations are always a threat to someone. EACTA threatened the status quo, but we dealt with that by offering to cooperate with existing societies, such as the European Society of Anesthesiology. And in so doing, we proved that, first of all, we were here to stay, and secondly, we had something to offer. One unique offering that we had was our contribution to education and training and personal certification in transesophageal echocardiography. And I'm very proud to have had a part to play in that. We collaborated with the cardiologists and agreed that we should have a certification process that did not distinguish between different specialties, thereby establishing our own role and status as being unarguable. This process, I believe, established cardiothoracic anaesthetists as true cardiac specialists, both inside the operating room and in the intensive care unit and elsewhere in the hospital. But what do I think, what would my message like to be to other future generations? Do you know, predicting the future is frankly a mug's game. In the middle of the 20th century, for example, there were numerous attempts, mostly unsuccessful, to develop cardiopulmonary bypass. But by the end of the century, we were much more concerned with techniques to avoid cardiopulmonary bypass altogether. I started practice as a cardiothoracic specialist in 1981, and at that time, a typical patient was a man in his 60s with well-preserved left ventricular function, undergoing coronary artery bypass graft surgery. Now, I retired over 10 years ago, and by that time, that demographic was completely unrecognizable. So I'm tempted to go back to the time of the original sort of specialists in our area. And that's to say, to the original anaesthetists. I'm tempted to go back to basics, to the time of Morton and Snow, of Argumosa and August Beer, to recognize that whatever the surgery, our specialties always strive to improve patient comfort and safety and to facilitate our surgical colleagues in their work. If we follow these principles, then I'm quite sure that whatever else it holds, the future of cardiothoracic anesthesia in Europe and EACTA-IC has a bright future. Thank you.
Dear colleagues gathering here in the beautiful city of Valencia, I'm Professor Olav Selvold from Trondheim, Norway, and I've been a member of the association from the start. The first inaugural meeting of EACTA in Cambridge 1986 was initiated by many well-known European colleagues who had visions of a European meeting place for presentations of science in cardiothoracic anesthesiology. The American Society was well established then, but we had no intention of copying neither the structure nor the content. However, we looked over to see, and many of us went over both to learn and to lecture. Our congresses were different. Our main aim was to create a forum for presentation and promoting European science. We therefore had less focus on keynote speeches and educational talks. Many young colleagues had their first international oral presentation at the EACTA meetings. They were encouraged to continue their scientific career, and many ended up as teachers for the new generations of anesthesiologists. The different languages in Europe sometimes cause difficult mutual understanding. And I think a key success factor of EACTA was the agreement of using English as a lingua franca, a common language for presentation. How did we look at anesthesiology research? We certainly did not confine ourselves to research in anesthesia techniques. Anesthesiology research was scientific work done by anesthesiologists and those involved in cardiothoracic and vascular surgery. I myself had started my experimental research in the lab with a prime interest in cardiac arrest during cardiac surgery. And many meant that this was a topic for surgeons or basic cardiologists. But in EACTA, it was welcome. The board of directors took part in evaluating all the 3 papers, correction of language, improving the setup and conclusions, were part of the scientific education of EACTA presenters and members. There were hundreds of papers going through the board before every EACTA meeting, also with the help of our legendary Dr. John Manners. Specific techniques were promoted through seminars and workshops. TOE, double lumen tubes, hemodynamic monitoring, pain relief with drugs delivery and regional anesthesia, cardiopulmonary bypass, early extubation after surgery. All these and many more, I think, have contributed to the improvement of clinical practice in Europe and elsewhere. A lot has happened in anesthesiology during these 40 years, and I'm glad to see that this is also reflected in this year's Congress. The Congresses constituted the forum for presentation of European research. Since the number of participants were limited, most often about 500, we had the luxury of being able to choose different city venues. We could experience exciting cities, but primarily it was a way to promote science in anesthesiology, and I think to contribute to the self-esteem of anesthesiologists. We are many, and we do important work. I congratulate the association for including the intensive care in its name. Intensive care was with us from the start, but the focus is important, especially then for patient outcome. The association has shown its capacity to change and to be an important marketplace for colleagues to meet and to exchange scientific and clinical ideas and experience. Europe may be old, but it's vibrant and important. It is and must be a true melting pot for ideas and experience. No one can think all good thoughts and ideas at the same time. So we have to learn from each other. With all my heart, then, I congratulate the Association of Cardiothoracic Anesthesiology and Intensive Care with its first 40 years. And I'm sure the next 40 years will come. Thank you, and have a good Congress.